Daniel and Zach have lived in the United States of America for almost 15 years. Both of them are pranksters and mischievous students who enjoy mingling with people and making fun of them. In the USA, they have become heavily involved in drinking, gambling, and even crime like robberies and drug smuggling without ever being caught by the authorities there. However, their nefarious deeds were known and exposed to their family members, causing them to return back to Malaysia at the age of 21. During Halloween, Daniel and Zach went to the nightclub to party, dancing and drinking till their lungs gave out. Since they are newcomers at Nevermore, Daniel and Zach were dared by the peers to scare out Abu, who is one of the students at Nevermore. Both of them happily agreed to it and drove to Abu's house together, where each one of them were fully dressed in terrifying ghoulish costumes and hiding their faces with hideous alien masks. They also brought along their guns and kept them inside the car like they used to in the USA. Back in their days in the United States, it was normal for them to bring along weapons like guns and rifle, as it possessing firearms is legalized there, by which the Gun Control Act of 1968, GCA, which regulates firearms at the federal level, requires that citizens and legal residents must be at least 18 years of age to purchase shotguns or rifles and ammunition. On the contrary, according to Section 3 of the Malaysia Arms Act 1960, no person shall have in his possession, custody or control any arms or ammunition unless he is the holder of an arms license. Thus, it can be inferred that no one in Malaysia is authorized to possess firearms in whatever shapes or sizes until they have received a license to do so. Nonetheless, as they had been living almost a decade in the USA, they brought along their firearms, as they were not informed nor acknowledged on the position of law in Malaysia upon their returning to their homeland. Abu is actually an outcast, who is obsessed with mystical creatures like aliens, ghosts and demons, but he is easily frightened by them. Once they arrived at Abu's residence, Daniel and Zach braked into the house from the back door. Meanwhile, Abu, who had just woken up from a nightmare of being chased after two aliens who wanted to kill him, went into the kitchen to calm himself. When he entered the kitchen, he was surprised to find the same aliens from his nightmare to be in front of him, and to his horror the aliens started to get close to him. Abu, who was in a panic state and who had mistook Daniel and Zach in the costume for real aliens, started to reach out for a weapon near him. He found a knife and threw it directly to Daniel, and the knife ended up landing on Daniel's right leg. Daniel began to fall to the ground and cried out in pain. When Zach saw what had happened, he became furious and lunged at Abu, beating him like an insane man. However, Abu was not home alone. His mom, Sarah, who was recently giving birth, was trying to put the newborn baby into sleep but stopped when she heard chaos in the kitchen. She was surprised to see the fight, specifically witnessing her son, Abu, being beaten to death by an alien along with another alien who was drenched in blood. When Zach was enjoying beating Abu repeatedly, Sarah rushed forward abruptly and tried to interfere before the blow could land on Abu again. The sudden appearance of Sarah in front of Zach's eyes had caught him off guard, and unintentionally the strong blow coming from Zach's accidentally hit it on her lower stomach, causing blood to gush out from her mouth. Too dumbfounded with what had just happened, Zach started to panic and ran out of the house, leaving Daniel alone with the victims that he had just assaulted. In a hurry to leave the crime scene, Zach drove the car at a speed of 80 kilometers per hour. Suddenly, the back tire went flat and the car lost control, making him feel more distraught and panicked, which later caused him to run over a little boy named Raju, who was crossing the road in the residential neighborhood. Simultaneously, near the accident, there was a roadblock as the police were searching for the alleged drug dealers. The police then arrested Zach since he was speeding recklessly and it resembled him as one of the drug smugglers. During the ransacking, the police found a bag full of heroin as well as firearms in the bonnet. Zach vigorously denied the possession and told the police has arrested the wrong person. Notwithstanding, the police made a sobriety and drug test which resulted in the conclusion that Zach was driving recklessly under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Daniel ended up with grievous injuries on his leg and Sarah ended up dying due to internal bleeding after 2 weeks in a coma. While Raju, the pedestrian, was hospitalized for 3 months after the accident and suffered from a broken hip. Discuss the possible defense.